Listen to me carefully because I need you to hear this deep in your spirit. God is not the author of confusion. He doesn't play games with your heart. And when it comes to the person you're meant to marry, he's not sitting up in heaven dangling the answer over your head like a carrot on a string. He's not trying to tease you or watch you squirm or leave you guessing. But here's the thing about God's voice, it's steady. It's calm, it carries a weight, but it doesn't carry chaos. And when he's leading you towards someone, you're going to feel something powerful in your spirit, peace. Not pressure. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean every detail is perfect, or that there's no work involved, or that the relationship comes wrapped up in a pretty little bow. No, life is messy. People are imperfect. Even the person God has for you is going to have flaws, struggles, past wounds. But I'm telling you, when it's the right person, even when things get complicated, there will still be a peace underneath it all, a knowing in your gut that says this is right. See, too many people confuse excitement with confirmation. Butterflies are nice, sparks are fine, but butterflies fade. Sparks cool off, and if you're making one of the biggest decisions of your life based purely on chemistry, you're setting yourself up for heartache. Chemistry might bring you together, but it's peace that will keep you together, and peace, my friend, does not scream. Peace doesn't shove you. Peace doesn't back you into a corner and demand an answer right now. Peace doesn't keep you awake all night with anxiety, playing out a million what-if scenarios in your mind. Peace doesn't have you feeling like you're going to lose the person if you don't move fast enough or say all the right things or prove yourself worthy. That's pressure talking, and pressure does not come from God. Pressure comes from fear. Pressure comes from insecurity. Pressure comes from cultural timelines that tell you you're behind if you're not married by a certain age. Pressure comes from friends getting engaged, from family members asking, "So when are you next?" Pressure comes from your own doubts whispering that maybe you're too picky, or maybe you missed your chance, or maybe God forgot about you. Let me tell you, God has not forgotten you. God has not overlooked you. You are not on the back burner. You are not too old, too late, or too damaged for love. The same God who created the stars knows how to write your love story. And he knows how to lead you with peace, because peace is quiet confidence. It's the ability to look at a relationship and say, I may not know the whole future, but I know this is good. I know this is safe. I know this is someone I can trust with my heart. Peace lets you breathe. It doesn't suffocate you. When God is in it, you can take your time. You can ask the hard questions. You can learn who this person really is. You're not afraid that if you speak up, they'll leave. You're not tiptoeing around, terrified to share your convictions. The right person wants to hear your heart. The right person isn't scared of going deep. Peace feels like clarity. It feels like God shining a light on your path, even if the whole road isn't visible yet. Peace gives you permission to move forward or to step back without guilt. And if you lose your peace, if suddenly you're wrestling with turmoil that won't quiet down, that's worth paying attention to. That's God waving a flag saying, wait, let's check this. I've seen too many people force relationships because they were tired of waiting, because they were lonely, because they didn't want to start over. And every time they traded away their peace for a temporary sense of security. But what's the cost? You end up bound to someone who can't handle your purpose. You end up silencing your own voice. You end up waking up years later thinking, how did I get here? Listen, God's best will never require you to sacrifice your peace. You might have to sacrifice comfort. You might have to sacrifice your timeline. You might have to stretch and grow and forgive and communicate like never before. But you won't have to sacrifice your peace. So when you're trying to figure out if someone is the one, pay attention to the pressure. Pay attention to whether you feel free to be yourself. Pay attention to whether you're moving forward out of faith or out of fear. Because God's voice, it speaks in peace, and that peace, it's the compass that will lead you exactly where you're meant to go. Let me tell you something about love, about marriage, about the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. It's not just about falling in love. It's not just about chemistry or attraction or butterflies in your stomach. It's about purpose, because when God brings two people together, He's not just trying to make them happy, He's trying to make them effective. He's trying to fulfill destiny through them. And that means the person you marry matters not only to your heart, but to your calling. Some people think love is only about feelings, about emotions that sweep you off your feet. And yes, love has feelings. It has fire, it has moments that make your heart race, but feelings can't be the foundation of your future. Because feelings change, storms come, life gets hard, and when the wind starts blowing and the rain starts falling, you better have something stronger than butterflies holding you together. You better have purpose. When God is leading you to someone, there's going to be an alignment in your purpose. It doesn't mean you both have to do the same job or work in the same field. One of you might be called to business, the other to ministry. One of you might have a passion for missions, the other for community outreach. But there will be a common thread, a shared vision that ties your lives together. You'll look at each other and realize we're headed in the same direction. We're running the same race, because hear me, the right person will not pull you away from your assignment. The right person will not diminish your gifts. The right person will not belittle your dreams or ask you to shrink so they can shine. The right person will look you in the eyes and say, I see what God put in you, and I'm here to help you get there. That's alignment. Too many people fall for someone who's attractive, who's charming, who makes them laugh, but who doesn't share the same values or vision. And then they wonder why the relationship feels like a tug-of-war. They wonder why they're exhausted all the time. They wonder why they feel like they're compromising who they are. It's because they're trying to build a life with someone who's not running in the same lane. If you're called to serve God, and the person you're dating has no interest in faith, you're setting yourself up for heartache. If you're passionate about building a family rooted in spiritual values, and the other person thinks faith is optional, you're going to clash. If your purpose is to give, to serve, to impact lives, and the other person only cares about comfort and convenience, sooner or later there's going to be tension. Alignment of purpose doesn't mean you'll never disagree. It doesn't mean your personalities will be identical. But it means the core of who you are is moving in the same direction. It means you can dream together, pray together, plan together. It means you're not dragging someone along who doesn't want to go where God is taking you. Let me tell you, when it's right, you'll feel like you've found your teammate, your partner in the trenches, someone who's not intimidated by your calling but inspired by it, someone who's not competing with you but complementing you. Someone who understands that God put you both on this earth to do more together than you could ever do alone. See, God's idea of marriage is bigger than romance. It's partnership, it's ministry, it's purpose. Two people coming together not just to love each other, but to serve Him better than they could apart. And when you find that person, your gifts amplify, your reach multiplies, your impact grows, because God joins you together for His glory. So you've got to ask yourself, can I see myself running alongside this person for the next 40, 50 years? Can I see us building something eternal together? Can I trust this person with my dreams, my burdens, my calling? And can they trust me with theirs? Because marriage is not just a destination, it's a journey, and you want someone who's going to walk that road beside you, not fight you every step of the way. Sometimes you'll meet good people, kind people, people who love you sincerely, but who are not aligned with your purpose. And as painful as it is, you've got to be willing to let go of good things so you can say yes to the God thing. Because nothing will drain you like trying to merge two lives that were never meant to share the same path. Don't settle for someone who tolerates your calling. Wait for the person who celebrates it. Don't settle for someone who wants to keep you comfortable. Wait for the person who wants to grow with you, because when you find alignment of purpose, you'll discover a love that's not just sweet, but unstoppable. Would you like it tailored for a specific setting, youth group, singles conference, church service, etc., or adjusted in tone? Let me tell you something that might save you years of heartbreak. You were never meant to make the biggest decisions of your life all by yourself. I know we live in a world that tells you, follow your heart. I know you've heard people say, do whatever makes you happy, but let me tell you the truth. Your heart can lie to you. Your emotions can change from one moment to the next, and sometimes what makes you happy for a season can break you in the long run. That's why God gave you more than just your own feelings. He gave you wisdom. He gave you His Word. And He gave you people who love Him, who love you, and who can see things you can't see. See, when it comes to knowing who to marry, it's not just about what you feel. It's not just about the chemistry, the sparks, the butterflies. It's also about confirmation. It's about voices around you that echo what God is speaking in your spirit. Because sometimes you're too close to the situation to see clearly, your emotions get tangled up, your desires start talking louder than your discernment. And that's when you need godly counsel to step in and help you separate truth from confusion. I've seen too many people shut out the wise voices in their lives because they didn't want to hear anything that might challenge what they wanted. They were in love, and they didn't want anybody raining on their parade, so they avoided accountability. They kept secrets, they isolated themselves from people who would ask the hard questions, and they ended up in relationships that looked good on Instagram but were breaking them behind closed doors. Let me tell you, if you have to hide your relationship from people who love you, that's a red flag. If you're afraid to tell your pastor, your parents, your mentors, or your friends because you know what they're going to say, you already have your answer. Godly counsel is not there to control you. It's there to protect you. God speaks through people. He speaks through spiritual leaders who have walked this road longer than you have. He speaks through friends who can see patterns in your life you might be blind to. He speaks through people who have no agenda but your good. And sometimes what they say might not be what you want to hear, but if it's truth, it's worth listening to. And don't get it twisted, godly counsel doesn't mean people who just tell you what you want to hear. It's not people who co-sign every relationship you start just because they don't want to offend you. Godly counsel is people who love you enough to say, this doesn't look right. This is moving too fast. I see some things that concern me. And if everyone you trust is waving the same red flags, you'd better pay attention. That's God trying to get your attention. But counsel is just one side of it. There's also confirmation, because God, in His goodness, often confirms His will in multiple ways. You might have a peace in your spirit, but then you hear a sermon that speaks exactly to your situation. Or you read a scripture that jumps off the page like it was written just for you, or someone you respect says something that resonates so deeply you know it's not coincidence. God is not the author of confusion. He's consistent. He will not tell you one thing in your heart and something completely opposite through His Word or through godly counsel. His voice lines up, and if the messages you're hearing are in conflict, slow down, test it, pray over it. Get quiet before God until things become clear. Sometimes people ask me, how do I know if God is speaking or if it's just my own thoughts? And I tell them this, God's voice is steady, not frantic. It's truthful, not manipulative. It leads you closer to Him, not further away. And it's often confirmed by other believers, by circumstances, and by the fruit it produces in your life. Because let's be honest, love can blind you, loneliness can push you to ignore red flags, but godly counsel is like a mirror. It helps you see yourself, your relationship, and your choices more clearly. And confirmation is God's way of saying, yes, this is me. Yes, this is the way. Walk in it. So don't isolate yourself when you're trying to figure out who to marry. Don't block out the people God put in your life for your protection. Don't let pride convince you you're the only one who knows what's best for you, because sometimes the very confirmation you're waiting for is waiting for you in the voices of those who love you. Listen for God's voice, but also listen for His voice through the people He's placed around you. Because when it's the right person, the right path, the right time, there will be a harmony in your spirit and in the counsel you receive. And that harmony will keep you from settling for anything less than God's best for your life. Would you like it adjusted shorter, longer, or for a specific audience, e.g. Youth Singles Conference Church? Let me tell you something real about love, something deeper than roses and date nights and sweet words whispered in the dark. When God talks about marriage, He's talking about more than romance. He's talking about two people walking side by side toward Him. He's talking about spiritual growth, about iron sharpening iron, about faith getting stronger because you're not running this race alone. See, the world will tell you love is about how someone makes you feel, about passion, about chemistry. And don't get me wrong, those things have their place. God created attraction, He created affection. But if all you're looking for is butterflies, you're missing the bigger picture. Because the person you marry has the power to either fuel your walk with God or drain it dry. When God joins two people together, He doesn't just want them to love each other. He wants them to help each other become everything He created them to be. And that means spiritual growth. That means the right person won't just be someone who makes you laugh, who looks good on your arm, who posts cute pictures with you online. The right person will be someone who pushes you closer to God, someone who inspires you to pray more, someone who challenges you to keep your character in check, someone who's not afraid to call you out in love when you're slipping. I've seen people fall in love with folks who looked perfect on the outside but who had no desire to grow spiritually. And little by little, that relationship started pulling them away from the very place they once stood strong. They stopped going to church, stopped serving, stopped praying. Their joy started drying up, and they couldn't figure out why they felt empty, why their purpose felt distant. It's because who you tie your life to matters. You're not just marrying a person. You're marrying their habits, their priorities, their spiritual temperature. Spiritual growth together doesn't mean you're both perfect. It doesn't mean you'll never struggle. You're going to face battles. You're going to have moments where one of you is tired, discouraged, or doubting, but when it's the right person, they'll stand in the gap for you. They'll pray when you can't find the words. They'll remind you who you are when you forget. They'll hold your hand and say, "We're going to get through this together." And let me tell you, there's a beauty in that kind of love that's deeper than anything the world has to offer. When you pray with someone, when you worship together, when you read the Word and let it challenge you both, there's an intimacy that forms that goes beyond physical attraction. It's a bond that roots itself in the eternal. It's a connection that the storms of life can't break because it's anchored in God. So many people think they can change someone after marriage. They think, well, maybe they're not really into God now, but they'll come around. Maybe they don't pray with me now, but they will once we're married. Listen to me, marriage does not magically fix spiritual differences. If anything, it magnifies them. If you're already struggling to share faith now, it's going to be 10 times harder later when life hits and you need your partner to stand in faith with you. I'm not saying you have to marry someone who's exactly like you in every spiritual practice. Maybe one of you is more vocal in worship and the other worships quietly. Maybe one of you loves long prayer times and the other prays shorter prayers but from a sincere heart. That's fine. Spiritual growth together doesn't mean identical personalities. It means shared direction. It means you're both committed to putting God first. It means you both care about hearing His voice and obeying it. And let me tell you, there's something incredible about having someone who sees your weaknesses but doesn't weaponize them against you. Someone who knows your past but believes in your future. Someone who prays over your name when you're not in the room. Someone who encourages you to forgive, to love deeper, to trust God when everything around you is screaming that you should quit. When God is in the center of your relationship, you'll find yourself growing in ways you never expected. You'll discover patience you didn't know you had, compassion you never thought you could show, faith that stretches beyond the limits you once set. Because the right person will provoke you to grow, they won't let you stay stagnant. They'll love you enough to say, I see more in you than you see in yourself. So don't settle for someone who's content living on spiritual fumes. Wait for the one who wants to journey deeper with God beside you. Because the kind of love God wants for you is not just about today. It's about building a future that honors Him. And there's nothing more powerful than two people growing together in faith, stronger with every step they take toward the one who brought them together in the first place. Would you like it adjusted in length or tailored for a particular audience, youth, church service, conference? So hear me tonight, marriage is not something you rush into because the world tells you your clock is ticking. It's not something you settle for because you're lonely or afraid of being alone. This is your life. This is your destiny. This is your purpose. God cares who you marry, and He's not trying to keep it a secret. He's a God of peace, not pressure. He wants you aligned in purpose, not distracted and divided. He gives you godly counsel and confirmation because He loves you too much to watch you walk blindly into a life that wasn't meant for you. And He desires for you to grow spiritually together because the person you marry should push you closer to Him, not pull you away. So don't rush, don't compromise, don't believe the lie that God has forgotten you. He hasn't. He's preparing you. He's protecting you, and He's shaping someone out there who will fit perfectly into the purpose He's placed inside you. Keep listening for His voice, keep following His peace, keep surrounding yourself with people who speak wisdom and truth into your life. And trust that when it's time, God will make it clear, because the God who wrote your story knows exactly who belongs in your next chapter. And when it's right, you'll know.